How's it going, guys? So with The Boys finally coming to an end this week, I thought, I should sit down and talk about it, but then I should take it a step further and I should rank them, all the seasons. So Gen V and The Boys in this video. Let's do it. So this year was a really cool year because we had The Boys, we had Invincible, and we had Daredevil kind of playing all at similar times. So there's always something going on. There's always a TV show to talk about. And The Boys was something I was really excited for because we were finally going to see the satisfying conclusion to the series that we were all hoping for. So I sat down a few days ago, watched the finale, and I do have some things to say about it. But today we will be ranking every season, and also spoilers if you have not seen any season of The Boys yet, including season 5. So that's your warning. There is spoilers in this video, so click off, go watch it, and come back if you haven't seen it. But yeah, every season of The Boys and the 2 seasons of Gen V. Here we go. Coming in 7th place for me is going to be Gen V Season 2. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a bad season of television. I had a good time while watching it. I think that there's some nice characters. I thought that the actor who passed away, his dad, who was a good character in the first season, but I thought he had a good bump up because of the way they used the passing away of the actor to kind of promote his character. I thought it was good. I thought the way that his character was written was cool. I really enjoyed his arc that he went on. I do like our main Gen V characters, and I think the way that they did handle the passing of Andre was well done, but you can tell that wasn't the direction they wanted to go in. But I did like that they spent a lot of time on that, so that was really cool. And there's still some fun antics like you get from season 1. Like, it's still a fun show, and the university setting is still cool. I always enjoyed that. I thought the actor who played Cypher, who we thought was the villain throughout most of the show, was really good. And I liked that switch up in the last episode. I think that he did a really good job kind of playing this, stone cold villain, and then eventually he plays this really nice guy, which I thought was just a really, really cool performance to come out of the show. My problem with this season, because it's not like I have a bunch of nitpicks overall, my problem with this season is that it is inconsequential, it doesn't matter, and you can skip it. Season 2 of Gen V, unfortunately, has a problem that it doesn't matter anymore, really. With what they do with the Gen V characters in season 5, season 2 it's all about building up to this virus. It's all about building up to eventually how these guys are going to take down Homelander, how they need Marie Moreau to take down Homelander. And I thought it was a bit of a cheesy way they set that up, but I was excited for these characters to be a part of season 5, and they just kind of get sent on a bus to Canada to take some random people there. It was weird the way they handled it in season 5. I think season 5 made this season a lot worse, and it overall just doesn't matter. So that's kind of why I have it in here in this place, because you could easily, you could skip over it. It doesn't matter. These characters, unless they do something with them in the future, it doesn't matter. So not a bad season of television, like I said. It wasn't as good as the first season of just on its own, I thought. I didn't think that I thought the build up to the twist at the end was good, but then the eventually finale was kind of a letdown and a bit disappointing. But yeah, and it's also just a bit forgettable. Like, I watched this last year and I still can't really remember specific moments from it other than the ones I've already pointed out. So overall it was fine, but yeah, it comes in 7th place. Coming in 6th place for me is going to be The Boys Season 5. I had a lot of hype for this season. It started off great, I will say. The Boys Season 5 had a really good start with the way they handled A-Train in here. And I also just want to say, I think if you're talking about the way that characters were left off, or especially for the way that characters were killed off, I think A-Train was the best handled character in Season 5. And he died in the first episode. And I feel like that's a bit of a detriment onto the season as a whole, because it felt rushed, but it also felt like it was meandering through a bunch of different things. The first half of the season I actually thought was pretty solid. We have our characters that are doing a jailbreak, which I thought was really cool. And then we move into the fact that they want to get this virus and they're trying to take down Homelander, but then they realize that Homelander's trying to get the V1 because then that's the only thing that the virus can affect with the way they set up with Soldier Boy. And I thought that was a really cool concept. I thought that was all working well. There was some fun episodes. There were some nice character moments, as I alluded to with A-Train earlier on. And yeah, things were moving forward, and I liked the way that we kicked it off. But then the season kind of hits this halt in the middle, and it kind of meanders, and it kind of just slows down. We spent an episode, it almost felt like a filler episode, where they're walking around this nuclear waste building, and Homelander is being affected by radiation, which does come into play later in the TV show. But I guess they kind of set it up, but it doesn't really have much effect on anything. And then the next few episodes were kind of that at the same time. And then moving on into episode 6, which I thought was a really good episode actually, where Homelander gets the V1, and then we're about to kick it into high gear. Episode 7, not a strong episode. Probably my least favorite episode in the entire series, because it had the same thing that Stranger Things had, to where it lets all the air out of the bag before the final episode comes out. Like, it doesn't feel like we're building towards this massive finale for this show. It feels like we're just, again, meandering. There's some nice moments, some nice character moments with like Huey and Butcher in that episode, but then you get some weird moments with the cat lady and then, the other guy, and like, it just doesn't feel like we're pushing towards anything. And then you get to the finale, and I thought the finale was fine, but it wasn't what it could have been, which was great, like the first few seasons. And unfortunately, I felt like The Boys kind of turned into this series that was making fun of the superhero genre, but then it turned into the exact same thing that it was making fun of. And that was disappointing. So season 5, I do gotta say though, like the way they handled Homelander and like the way they paid him off, I thought was satisfying. I liked when he lost his powers and you can finally see what his true colors were, and he was just this sniveling pussy. And then you get like kind of a cool Corey death for him. But again, it just felt anticlimactic, like it was just this little fight in the Oval Office, and we've had bigger fights than that with Homelander in previous seasons. The way they handled Butcher, I thought was good in the last episode. Butcher is not a good person throughout the whole series. He makes a lot of bad choices, and I like that in the last moments he has this little hesitation of humanity, and I appreciated that because it shows that he's not a very good person, but he has this little thing, especially for Huey, and he almost doesn't pull the trigger there, and then Huey shoots him, but he also tells Huey, I wasn't going to change my mind. And I thought that was a good way to leave his character, because he feels super strongly about Huey and he cares about him a lot. So that whole dynamic there I thought was handled well. I think the season is overall fine. I don't think it's as bad as like Stranger Things finale, but it wasn't the best, unfortunately. Coming in at number 5 is going to be season 4 of The Boys. Now, I don't think that this is much better than season 5. I just thought it had a bit more cohesion, maybe, but there's still a lot of glaring issues with this. I find this season to be the grossest season of The Boys. Now, The Boys has always gone for this gross out humor type thing, where they'll do something at the start of a season to really get icked out and stuff like that, and see how they can top themselves with either gore or just nasty shit that they put on screen. But this season, I feel like takes it to a point where I'm not enjoying that anymore, and I'm just kind of turned off by it. Whether you're talking about the web guy, Web Weaver, whatever his name was, I thought he was just a gross character, and the way they handled his powers was just weird, and like it wasn't funny or enjoyable in my opinion. And the way that they handled Huey in one of these episodes where he's getting like tortured, and like Ashley's like the torture mansion scene or episode was weird and gross in my opinion. And there was just a lot of moments like that, like the sauna scene, like it's just weird. It found it weird. And also the social commentary, I felt like in the first 3 seasons was really well done, really set up to where, it was clever. But in this season, it felt like it was just being like, here's American politics put into The Boys. Like it didn't feel like they put much effort into it, unfortunately. But I do think that there's some really strong moments in here. I think that the episode where Homelander goes to where he was raised to see all these scientists. I thought that was, or might be, one of my favorite top 5 episodes of the whole show. I think there's some strong. I kind of like the way they handled Butcher's character in here. He's the darkest in this season, but it was inevitable and that was coming. And I like the way that they made this turn. I enjoyed the new characters that they brought in here, like Firecracker. I thought was a nice addition to the show, and I like the way that also they handled her in season 5. And there was just a bit more cohesion and a bit more stuff happening. But thinking about the season, it just grosses me out and it just weirds me out, and that was my least favorite thing about this season. Was I was watching it and I felt icky. This season 4 of The Boys is just icky. It feels like they're not trying as hard with the clever social commentary, and it feels like we're meandering, and this was a setup season for the 5th season. But when the 5th season isn't a very good payoff, then your setup season becomes even worse in hindsight. So yeah, not a great end to the show, unfortunately, but that is where I'll place season 4. Coming in at number 4 for The Boys is going to be Gen V Season 1. And I think this is just a really fun season of television. I appreciate that it feels different from the season of The Boys, but it still has kind of the same flavor. It still goes for that same type of humor. It still goes for the gross stuff, the gore, but it's handled a bit more better in this season, I feel like. And it's a bit funnier. I also really do enjoy the new characters. I like Marie. I like Kate a lot, or the girl that grows and shrinks. She's my favorite character in the Gen V series. And I like the interdynamics of having this university setting. I feel like there's a lot more clever ways to put in melodrama, but it's actually melodrama that works. And I like the investigations that they go on here with Sam and everything like that. I thought that there's some well set up characters, some well set up subplots that were paid off towards the end of the season, and it had a good finale with Homelander coming in. I don't necessarily find this a season that I'm going back to rewatch. It doesn't really pop into my head that much, when I think about The Boys. But I do really enjoy this as a season of television. I just really don't have much to say about it, unfortunately. But I really do enjoy Gen V Season 1. Coming in at number 3 is going to be The Boys Season 2. I think the top 3 here are all great. I don't really have any glaring issues with The Boys Season 2. I just find that Season 1 and 3 have more memorable things about it. Now, don't get me wrong, I think The Boys Season 2 has some really highlighted moments. I think there's some really funny sequences in here. I think the finale is handled really well. This might be one of the better finales of the whole series as a whole. There's some really good acting here by Anthony Starr and Carl Urban. And I do think this is a really strong season of television. My one gripe with this season is that everyone is kind of like dispersed, and everyone is kind of on the run, and everyone is like, there's not much hope in the season, unfortunately. There isn't much here, unfortunately, to root for. Everyone's kind of on their own little side mission, and by the end of it, it's not like necessarily a payoff that makes me feel good. When you get to the finale, it's just a really well done few episodes and some good tension as well. But this is back when the show had like some interesting things to say about Homelander, and he actually felt like more of an interesting character rather than just like this sniveling idiot, kind of what they felt like he was in the season 4 and 5 of the show. Overall, I do really enjoy this season of television. There is some moments that highlight, like when Deep comes out with the whale and hit him with the boat. I thought that was just a really funny scene. And overall, I do think this is a solid season of television. It's just not as strong as the ones above it. Coming in at number 2 for me is going to be season 1. I do think this is really, again, an awesome season of television. This could be my number 1 on another day of the week. This just asking me today, this is how I feel. As for season 1 of The Boys, I thought this was a great introduction season. I think the first 3 episodes of this show are awesome. I love the way they introduce the characters. I think the way the show opens is awesome, with the way that, Huey's girlfriend gets just absolutely ran through by A-Train, and I think that is a really clever way to open up the show, because it's showing you what superheroes could be like in real time. If there was a character that could run like the Flash, then that is a possibility of something happening. So I thought that was a really great way to open up the show. I felt like Homelander was the most interesting in this season, because he's not like this god complex yet. He's still like feels a bit human almost when you watch the season, and I really enjoyed that. But he understands that he's the most powerful person still, so there's still that interesting complex dynamic there. Vought I found to be the most interesting in this season as well, just as a company, and I really like the character of Hugh. I thought Starlight was well done in this season as well, and Butcher was a really interesting character, and just getting to know all these characters was really cool. I do think it has a bit of a slower pace than the season above this, season 3. That's just because we're kind of getting to know the world, getting to know everybody within the season. But as a season of television, I think that this one is really strong, and I haven't seen the first 3 seasons in a while. That's why I'm a bit spaced out on specifics, but I do remember enjoying this one a lot, and I actually might go back and rewatch it because season 1 I think is a really just strong season of television. Coming in at number 1 though is going to be season 3. I remember watching this season and going, yeah, this is probably going to be the best season of the show. This season manages to have kind of just the best elements in everything you're looking for the show. Whether you're talking about the political commentary, I think season 3 has the most clever way that it brings it out. Whether you're talking about the comedy, I think this season is really, really funny in some areas. Like if you bring up the Herogasm episode, I thought that whole episode was great and hilarious at the same time. And this season also goes for that gross out humor, but it manages to do it in a way where I'm not feeling icky. It's really kind of just shocking and funny, which is what they used to go for with this type of season, but they kind of strayed away from that, unfortunately. And overall, I just don't really have any complaints about this season. I think Soldier Boy was a fantastic new addition to the show, and there was just some really great stuff throughout the show. And I do actually think that the Herogasm episode is the best episode in the season, in the series overall, because it has everything you're looking for. It has the shocking moments, it has comedy, but it also has stakes. It has character growth. It has a really great action sequence with Homelander and Butcher and Soldier Boy, and it also, this season also has what, in my opinion, is the best finale of any of the shows, too. And it sets up, when Homelander kills that guy at the very end, it sets up, like, a way more interesting thing than whatever was paid off with season 4 and season 5, unfortunately. So, yeah. If we're talking The Boys, season 3 is my favorite. But just the first 3 seasons overall, I really, really enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you stay tuned for more videos coming very soon. I'm hoping to check out the Backrooms movie next weekend, so there should be a review for that. But yeah, let me know what you thought of The Boys season finale down below. What is your ranking of all the seasons? How do you feel like it ended? Do you feel like it ended with a strong season, or do you feel like it ended with a whimper? Let me know down below in the comment section, and stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.